Yo, today is the day we fully stop sleeping on Blackbeard and finally dive into his motivations and what he is capable of. I've been having talks recently with friends, and it seems to be common to sleep on Blackbeard. It's like every time I bring up the fact that Blackbeard could be a final villain, they look at me shell-shocked. And today is the day I put my foot down. I'm tired of everyone sleeping on Blackbeard and disrespecting his potential. So today I decided we go over Blackbeard's motivations, his lineage, like who he could possibly be related to and who we know he is related to, like in the sense of will, his accomplishments, and also his failures. All of these fall together to who Blackbeard could be at the end of the story, but we are going to get to that. Before anything, I would like for you to help me help you. If you are indeed messing with the vibe so far, then I would like for you to leave a like and drop a sub so you can have weekly content put into your YouTube feed. That's it. I really don't got much to ask. Enjoy the video and yeah. Now, I'm gonna be completely real with y'all. To my anime watchers, I'm gonna drop a big spoiler warning on this video. So if you are one of those people who are not caught up with the manga and only wait for it to be animated, then just know I've warned you. So let's get everything that we know about Blackbeard out the way. And it's crazy because some of this is common knowledge, but y'all still deny it because y'all don't know the potential this man has. So yeah, Blackbeard, also known as Marshall D. Teach. The D already, it already says a lot. We know that the initial D is one of the most important things in the One Piece story, and I can prove that with the most recent chapter. In chapter 1117, Vegapunk literally said, well, he was about to say something about the D clan before the worldwide message got cut off. The way that he prepped up his final message, it seemed like he was about to drop the bomb, but unfortunately the broadcast got ended. Bro, seeing the Gorosei get so amped up as he brung up the D clan, like it made me feel the tension in the room. Like even though we didn't get the full message, it still shows that there's more to be learned. And with One Piece, y'all know how it is. How will we learn it? When will we learn it? How would they present it? You know, like how, why, when, what the you know, it really messes with your mind. But the reason I brought up this chapter so early is because of this certain panel. As Vegapunk brings up the D clan, there's a panel of all of the D clan members showing at the same exact time. You know, some very important characters. The chapter is pretty recent, so I won't be taking that risk. But I will tell you that the panel doesn't exactly show all the D-Clan members, but it's like we see Dragon, and then there's Sabo there. He brings up Luffy and Ace. Then Kobe shows up, and then he also brings up Luffy, but then he brings up Garp. Then that man Blackbeard appears. He talking about, Then Beppo shows up, and he's calling out for Law. That just like dropped the bomb. Like, these characters are still important. I'm saying still because, you know, Donut Man, he's out of here. That just told us there is so much more to still learn about these characters. But the focus today is Blackbeard, so let's really talk about it. We are all familiar with the octopus theory, right? You know, 3 devil fruits, 3 hearts. His Jolly Roger has 3 skulls. He already has 2 devil fruits, and he is the only character we know that can do that. So even though he already has the darkness fruit and the quake fruit, we believe that his 3rd fruit is about to be a octopus type of fruit. I guess when he awakens it, he becomes an octopus, you know, the Kraken. Like, let's seriously think about it. When you add all this up, it gets crazy. He has the quake fruit, the darkness fruit, and a potential 3rd Zoan type that may change his appearance. His potential is wild, and that's not even the bottom of the iceberg. We still at the top. Let's start with the quake fruit. We seen he is kind of reckless but smart with his powers, shown in a fight with Law. But don't forget, he knows what he is doing. He can literally throw quakes at his enemy's surface to mess up their balance and focus. So that itself is already crazy. And he's not even using the full power for the attacks like we seen with Whitebeard. And even with my boy Edward, we didn't see the quake fruit at its full power. So imagine what unreleased moves with the quake fruit we haven't seen yet. One of the most powerful fruits in the verse. I cannot wait. Now we got the darkness fruit. This fruit nullifies all powers in the same vicinity and completely weakens his opponent once it fills the area up around him. We've seen this used against Ace and Law. Now, I did say he uses his fruit strategically, but he is still a bad fighter. When all falls down and he has no other moves, the darkness fruit is a saver. Or is he making it look like a saver? He could purposely make his opponent feel like they have an advantage, but they really don't. He's got them right where he wants them. We've seen this majorly at the end of the Law fight. Blackbeard loved the fact that Law felt like he was winning, then boom, he pulls out the darkness fruit and things went from there. I'm gonna move on though. So we know the Quake Fruit and the Darkness Fruit are completely broken individually. Like if a guy with Conqueror's Haki held either one of them on their own, he is easily top 5 in the verse, as we've seen with Whitebeard. But that's the only thing Blackbeard doesn't have. But I believe that time is coming. So far, every person with the initial D showed they are special in their own way, and the head honchos we've all seen all have Conqueror's Haki. It's only a matter of time, guys. But think about all of what I just said, and I didn't even get to the possibilities to come if he obtains the third fruit. He is officially a Zoan. He can awaken. He can have fish-like abilities and looks. We know from most Zoans we've seen, the biggest one being the Future King, that these Zoan types have insane possibilities, and they take time to learn. But that's no problem for Blackbeard, because I have this next reason why I think Blackbeard should be studied more. Believe it or not, Blackbeard has one of the biggest brains in One Piece. It's just not shown in a great form, and he simply doesn't have that appearance or aura, as y'all would say now. Before any of the pirate stuff, Blackbeard was always ready to learn something new. Said by Oda himself, Blackbeard could have been an archaeologist. Even in his days now as a pirate, he still finds time to research, and he does a lot of research. And this makes you question things like, what does he know? Who has he told? How is he using his studies as of right now? And I might have some answers for that on how he could possibly be using these studies. Like I said, Blackbeard is very strategic, but it's shown in such a cowardly way. This is why y'all hating on my boy. For example, the Whitebeard situation, y'all clown him for this. He stayed on this man's ship for years, creating a plan to one day betray him. And it's so sad to say, but this plan executed perfectly. He waited for Whitebeard to be at his lowest, his weakest state, to come swoop and snatch his fruit. He's definitely seen it in action many times due to being under Whitebeard's wing, so he knows what type of fruit he is about to obtain. And let's add a fact that I should have been spoken on. He doesn't sleep. He never sleeps. So we don't know how long Blackbeard has been studying, strategizing, waiting. There could be something he been knew about obtaining a second fruit. There is a method or something he used and most likely studied years before, just waiting for this moment. Actually, quick editor's note. There is a theory on Blackbeard's mind process before getting his fruits. He wanted the Darkness Fruit first because he knew the strengths of it, like nullifying other powers. So he uses this power to access a second Devil Fruit inside his own body. Like when he took Whitebeard's fruit, he used the Darkness Fruit within himself. So once he gets the Quake Fruit inside him, the Darkness Fruit is nullifying the other powers so he can obtain both of them at the same exact time. But that's only the start to where Blackbeard's studies could be important. So let's keep in mind, he's not just studying books. He is looking at world events, other crew's strengths and flaws, history, how everyone is moving. You know, he has an eye on a lot of things. So now let me actually tell you how these are helping him. With Wano just ending, we all know we're in Egghead now with a large scale of important characters showing up, like the Vice Admirals, of course our Straw Hats, the Vegapunks, the Gorosei, and a buster call amount of Marines. Let's not forget the Giants, Kuma, and Bonnie. There's a lot more. But with all that happening at once, we got a small portion of the Blackbeard pirates lurking around the island. They go by the names of Van Augur and Katarina. As one of the biggest incidents of the new generation is currently happening, and without making themselves a huge presence on the island, they drop one of the hardest lines in the story, as they say they want the world. Now let's get some context behind this. These two found a way on the island, I believe with Van Augur's warp fruit, and it was perfect timing as Saturn was knocked back to oblivion by Luffy's Gear 5 punch. And yes, I seen there are two Nikas now. I'ma hold my opinion, but I will talk about that in my next video. Subscribe so you won't miss it. But back on track, he lands where the two were, and all Katarina did was touch Saturn once. And she says, mission complete. Saturn is wondering why they follow Blackbeard, and they simply respond with, he's special. Then Saturn drops the absolute bomb and says, as is his lineage. Meaning Blackbeard has some blood relation to something very important in world shifting, which is why he needs to be taken down. Now Saturn has one more question. He wonders, what does Blackbeard want? And they say in unison, the world. I caught chills the first time I read that, not gonna lie. But then they warp off the island to safety. That was a very risky mission complete in a matter of minutes. Think about it. With the biggest threat of the government in the same vicinity, the Blackbeard pirates managed to get on the island undercover, by the way, touch a Gorosei member, then just dip like nothing happened. That is a great use of devil fruits if you ask me. Van Augur's warp fruit to get from place to place in matter of seconds. And I just realized I haven't said it yet, my apologies. Katarina's nine-tailed fox fruit that allows her to copy appearance and I believe abilities. Y'all thinking yet? She now has the capabilities in appearance of a Gorosei, and that is all behind the work of Blackbeard. He planned this. He knew exactly who to send in a crew full of devil fruit users, by the way. He has a plan. From the beginning to the end of his crew, they all have unique devil fruit powers, and they all could be useful in their own way. But we're going to get to that. I want to talk about the poneglyphs and the ancient weapons. Blackbeard is on pace to secure some of the deadliest or most powerful weapons and information from certain history. You're probably wondering how. After recently beating the Heart Pirates, Blackbeard has now gained the poneglyphs from Zou and Wano, and speaking of Wano, we know that Egghead is not far from that place. And we know that some of the members of Blackbeard's crew, including himself, are split up between Egghead, Wano, and the Elbaf areas. There's a possibility that this man can use the info he already knows and the poneglyphs he just gained to get the ancient weapon Pluton hidden under Wano. And I feel like you shouldn't be, but if you're wondering how he will read these poneglyphs if Robin is the only one in the world who can read them, he doesn't need to worry about any of that because he has Pudding. This is why he raided Big Mom's island, to capture her. Her third eye can read poneglyphs. This does add question into why did he want to mess with Boa Hancock's fruit. Y'all see Blackbeard is making moves that are very interesting and specific. He is hunting powerful devil fruits. He has some type of plan in mind to run the whole world. His non-sleeping and venture for knowledge attributes play a key role in why I think he is the actual final villain over Emu. Now I don't mind being wrong, this is just a whole headcanon that I have. I'm just stuck on the fact that he does not sleep, guys, and I guarantee that he spent a good amount of time staying up all night gathering his crew mentally. This is before Marineford. I'm talking whilst on Whitebeard's ship. He been planning this his whole life. Blackbeard decided at one point he will have a crew of only devil fruit users and stuck with it. I feel in some way each member of this crew will show their capabilities when it comes to Blackbeard's orders. A great example being Van Augur and Katarina and Egghead. First we have Vasco with the Gobble Gobble No Mi. I'm just not saying the dub name. Y'all can look yourself. This is a fruit that can constantly make you drunk, and I'm guessing he can make others drunk whenever he wants. That could really speak for itself when it comes to capability. Then we got Jesus Burgess with the strong fruit. I'm just going to get all the self-explanatory ones out the way. Then we got Shiryu with the clear fruit. This fruit has crazy potential in my opinion. If things go bad, I look at this as a lifesaver. Then we got a name I really like, Pizarro with the island fruit. Dude can become a whole island, I guess, when it matters, and move around to any location he wants. And not even just that, I'm pretty sure he can make the island its own weapon. So yeah, y'all watch out for Pizarro. Then we got the huge fruit eaten by San Juan Wolf. Shouldn't be like more like explanation to that. I think y'all get that. Anyways though, on to the sick fruit. Now this fruit scares me a little, so can I be open with y'all? This is an open channel, right? I'm just gonna say it. I believe that the sick fruit is gonna somehow touch our main character or one of them, and this may or may not scare us to death. Hopefully not literally though. But when I see this fruit, I think of Chopper. Dealing with this fruit on like some type of final battle arc, I think that Chopper will achieve his greatest accomplishment. And we are already in the final saga, so why not just throw this out there? Maybe Chopper will end up healing one of our crewmates or end up healing Doc Q himself. Next we got the horse fruit that Doc Q was riding on. He goes by Stronger and he can fly. That's some good movement right there. To conclude all the ones that we haven't spoke on yet, let's get to the pack-a-punch of the crew. Former Navy Admiral Aokiji. He has the ice fruit. We know the damage he can do. Last but not least, we have Luffy. His biggest feat right now is sneaking into the government island where Celestials reside, Mary Jawa, and we really don't know much about him, even his devil fruit. So yeah, we've already went over Blackbeard's, Van Augur's, and Katarina's fruits, so I'll just say think about it. A crew full of those devil fruit powers and Blackbeard's 2 but potentially 3 devil fruits on top of that. Plus all that he studied and the future moves we think he could possibly make. Katarina now has the ability to copy Saturn's appearance and possibly his powers after she just touched him. Who knows anybody else she could have touched and copied. So much to come with this crew, y'all. Just wait. Oda is cooking something big and y'all only gonna believe it when y'all see it. And let me add that I do understand that the ocean levels are rising, so this crew could also be in big danger. But once again, Blackbeard knows a lot, so he could make a way. And now for my last reason and why I believe Blackbeard's plan will lead him to final villain is his long-time rivalry with Luffy. Duh. Since early in the story, we've been hinted at Luffy and Blackbeard meeting again at the end of the story. They first meet each other in Mocktown at a bar where we see similarities and differences very early between the two. These are two men with dreams that nobody will get in front of, and we're shown they have completely different tastes when it comes to cherry pie. Before this meeting even happened, we knew that Luffy has a dream that he is not giving up on. And I bring this up because at the end of this meeting, Blackbeard drops a line saying that a man's dream will never end. We have never seen someone this open about their dream like Luffy. At the time Blackbeard was saying this, we didn't think that he could be the one to get in the way of their dreams at the end of the story. Plus, there is so much build up between this rivalry. We can start with the obvious, like Blackbeard is the symbol of darkness, and he literally has the dark fruit that nullifies any other power in his vicinity. I bring this back up in comparison to Luffy's fruit, the sun god Nika model. In some way, this fruit is a complete opposite to Blackbeard's darkness fruit, because anything that it touches, it kind of gives it a certain type of life. Anything in this fruit's vicinity turns it into this free, rubbery substance. Do you see what I'm getting at right now? And let's not forget that Blackbeard captured Luffy's brother Ace just to turn him into the government, and this whole Impel Down arc started. Blackbeard is the reason Luffy had to stop worrying about his own crew just to save his brother Ace. Thanks to Blackbeard, Luffy made connections along the way that'll eventually be more important in the future, but now what's important is what Luffy went through. He had to go through 6 levels of Impel Down. This whole segment was good training for Luffy, and he became numb to poison after fighting Magellan, so that's a W on his part. But at the end of this arc, when all hell starts to break loose, Luffy unfortunately finds out Ace isn't even at Impel Down anymore, and he was already sent to Marineford for execution. Luffy is annoyed at this and knows what his next move has to be, but on his way out, he meets the man that brung him here unknowingly. Yes, Blackbeard and Luffy meet face to face for the second time, but this time Luffy has a reason to punch a hole through his chest. Because right here, Blackbeard decides to boast, and he reveals the truth that he set all of this up. Luffy is enraged after hearing this, and he just starts plummeting Blackbeard. Luckily, Jinbei was here to invade, and he breaks this up. As they're leaving, Jinbei shockingly says that Luffy has no chance against Blackbeard at the moment, even though around this time, he still only has 1 devil fruit. I really just want to show y'all how active and behind the scenes Blackbeard is, and how his and Luffy's stories are cause and effect to one another. Just like with Egghead, Luffy is causing the biggest event of the new generation, and Blackbeard found a way to involve himself secretly just to complete a mission of his own. Or like Law helping Luffy beat Big Mom and Kaido, then eventually comes in Blackbeard and he takes Law's winnings. And for the last thing I have to say is Shanks vs Blackbeard. They have been beefing for years, and the ending is near. This is happening before Luffy vs Blackbeard final fight. And guess what? Who looks up to Shanks, y'all? Luffy. And we don't really know when Luffy and Shanks are meeting again, so I decided to have fun with it, and I'm going to add Blackbeard in. I have this theory I like where at the end of the battle, Shanks will be the one to lose somehow to Blackbeard's tricky games. But this will be as Luffy and his crew are on the way. Shanks will be at his last breaths when Luffy finally arrives. And by the time Luffy gets there, Blackbeard will be gone, and this will set up a battle for later. But maybe this will be the time that Luffy can finally return the Straw Hat to Shanks. Luffy should be tired of Blackbeard at this point. He got Ace killed, he beat up Law and took his poneglyphs, he scared Boa to death, and he killed Shanks at this point. I would lose everything. I'd crash out. Once again, just headcanon though, and I'm having fun with the possibilities of One Piece, so don't shame me. I know Emu and Nagorose symbol some type of darkness and difference to Luffy's Sun God fruit also, but we see they're currently frauds. I bring this up because I believe Blackbeard is the true embodiment of darkness, and he will be the one to win over the government and sit in that throne. Remember, he is not aiming to be king of the pirates, he wants to be king of the world. The same goal that Rox D. Zebek had, and they needed Roger and Garp to take him down. Let's think about that. Through Rox's will and his own, he will finally become king of the world and bring in an even stronger force. Some type of evil army that now trust him fully and decide to follow him after he takes down the original bad guys. The Gorosei, Emu, then Luffy, the Straw Hats, his fleet, and all the friends he made along the way will help him in the final battle against Blackbeard.